Howdy y'all, welcome to my first vlog ever. This is my study abroad trip in Italy. I hope you enjoyed this recap video.
Downstairs for some breakfast and then we're coming back upstairs. Hi Father Bud! Good morning!
This is the cafe right under our hotel where we had our breakfast. I had an Americano and croissant for the first morning.
Did you guys have breakfast?
Yeah.
How was your breakfast?
Good. I had 2 croissants.
Ooh!
And then we started off our first morning and on our way to our destination. This first basilica that we visited is so special because St. Peter's Chains was there and it's just the most memorable one for me. And I should mention that this is a theology course. This was a Roman and Christianity course. So we learned a lot about, the buildings, the churches, and of course the people who made the city what it is today. And then we went into this underground place where the people used to live, and we just discussed how they lived and what they do, and we kind of looked at the arts and things like that on the walls to kind of determine what it is telling us and showing us. Then we went to St. Sebastian's Catacomb. This was a special place for me personally because St. Sebastian's was one of the people that I had to read and learn about. I couldn't record in the catacomb, but I was able to record it in the church. And then we did our discussion.
We're presenting today, and it's also the first day, so I have no idea what to expect.
And his name is Sparta. And then we get into the 7th circle.
And then we did some walking before we head back to the city. Anna's giving me the mile check.
6.8, almost 7 miles.
Okay.
We were super fortunate for nice weather. Look at the sunset. You guys, we were just walking in the countryside while the sun is setting. It was such a beautiful scene. And then we got back to the city and we kind of roam around the nightlife of Rome. And of course, we did more learning. Look at Father Bud teaching us at 9 p.m. And then we had dinner.
Okay, on a scale of 1 through 10, what is it?
Everywhere. They're in your I showed a couple of you Jonah washing up thrown out of the boat.
An 11 out of 10.
It's like, I don't know. Did Jonah
11 with all the laughs, for real. Look at that! Is it supposed to first bite? It's bacon, right?
Yeah,
Is it
like a fatty ham.
that is
Hey, Ethan, when we leave, will you check Dan's bias for spoons?
I only have one now.
I got fooled by that one.
10 out of 10. Let's go.
So our second day was a big day. We left our hotel at 8 a.m. that day. We hiked up this little hill.
I know, it's 8:30 and we're all dying.
At least if I die here, I'll be
And then there is this view on top of that hike. It was so beautiful, but it was nothing compared to what we were about to see that day. And then we did some more walking. And finally we got to our main destination of the day, the Vatican City. We had a little bit of time before meeting with our tour guide. So we went into this cemetery and our friend Rob was just giving us the info and the context and the historical facts. And this is my first ticket on this trip. At this point, we're just waiting for our tour guide. And we spent a lot of time there, but I couldn't record and I totally respect that. But the experience was so surreal and I'm so grateful for it.
What did you think about that? 10 out of 10. I mean, we weren't allowed to bring our cameras in. We were not. The water was 10 out of 10 though.
Then we went into St. Peter's Basilica. I was just so shook at all the details, all the paintings, everything. And no videos or pictures can do justice. And we're on our way to the museum, and this is Nick wanting to stop by McDonald's in Rome.
Can they bump it back by
And we got to the museum. This is Dan in the frame and Nick. We weren't really friends at this point, but we became really close, and you'll see that in this vlog if you keep watching. Or if you watch the other videos from the other cities, you'll also see that as well. And these two human beings are the funniest people I have ever met. So
Okay, Father Bud, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. How can I not feel great? We're in the Vatican Museum. We're looking at the Prima Porta Augustus, and I only have 16 pictures of this, so I need another one.
I love
How
that.
are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. This is so cool. I'm like
What do you
taking
like so
everything
far?
in. I think St. Peter's Bones still
St.
my
Peter's Bones,
favorite. Yeah. Oh hi. How are you feeling right now?
I saw myself in a little background.
I know I wasn't even in the frame. I think.
I'm more amazed that they found this many intact sculptures. Like these are all pretty complete.
Right.
It's interesting because we just walk through our heads.
And we spent a lot of time in this room just like looking around, and I have so much more appreciation for like arts, and especially like thinking about how these were made years ago. And then we walked through these hallways with these crazy ceilings. Ugh, this one got me weak in the knees, boy. And more paintings. It's like the more I look at it, the more I think about it, the more I just become so overwhelmed. And like I said, it's super crowded, so I didn't really record a lot at all. And like this is not even 20% of everything that we saw. And we grabbed some lunch at the cafeteria at the museum. And then we explored some more. We looked at some more arts. And I just love this room here because it was dark and I just like the glowy paintings. And then our day at the Vatican was over and we had to do our presentation. I was not one of the people that had to present on that day, but we explored the topics of sacred/profane, and it was just so interesting to see different points of views. And here's a video of my friends debating.
Their leaders, like
So does that make
Smith.
their place not holy? Because that's what I was saying earlier.
Right.
If you don't believe in it, it's not holy at all?
Well, because it's not true. Right? Through
Oh, see, this goes back to what I was saying. Everybody knows me earlier, and now he's proving my point.
History and truth trumps all. It doesn't matter what you think is right or wrong.
Faith
You
trumps
have
out
faith.
history
There's no
because there's a
proof
lot
of
of
any.
things that call faith that don't have to be
Sure, but there's also enough truth to find the correct faith.
That presentation was so good. So good. This is a Roman Christianity.
And now he doesn't have to pay taxes, and he's got a city that doesn't.
Did you enjoy that,
got
Morgan?
Intriguing.
And it's the second one. The second one, we have like what, 14 more to go? I think. Yeah.
And we explored some more nightlife of the city of Rome. They've got some Christmas celebrations going on in the city, in the plaza. And then we went into another basilica. This place was just also super, super beautiful. And I think it's so cool that we went at night. Because look at that. Look at the ceiling. And everything else too.
Bro, pistachio is so bomb, honestly. So good.
And we explored some more. Look at this place. It is so crazy. Like, how did they even build that? And we went into more churches. And this is the same church, but look at this holiday spirit. Look at the Christmas spirit and how valuable it is to them here. And then dinner. I had some pizza for dinner. And Father Bud is teaching again at 10 p.m., y'all. I love it. But yeah, this was the end of our day 2. We again explored the city, but today was such a powerful day. We learned a lot, we saw a lot, and we explored so much. And I'm just so grateful for the experience, the friends that I've made along the way.
And day 3, this was also New Year's Eve. We were told to get some groceries for lunch and dinner because this city was gonna go crazy with the celebration. And then we took a train ride to outside of the city.
I wasn't gonna say that. Like everybody. Memory. Like I'm pretty good at like.
You do.
You.
I mean, she kept her blood tie from 7th grade, so it's like.
She also doesn't throw anything away.
Then we got to our destination. They had really nice restrooms here. And then what started off our time there, y'all, this place was so big. I thought it would be like a little quick walk and be done, but no, it wasn't. I was wrong. And honestly, my thoughts were all over the place while walking on these cobblestones. It's just like people used to walk on these streets like 2,000 years ago, and I'm walking on it right now. And there's this view from above. Look at that. It's so big, and I love the trees. And this is a theater. You can see Dan all the way down there. He was singing, I think, Fly Me to the Moon. And we looked at a whole bunch of stuff and kind of like figured out what it used to do. I think like this here was like a flour mill. And this is a bar, y'all. I was like, why is this still so good? And we just had like meaningful conversations, you know, on adapting to circumstances and changes. And we played some games. I took a big L here. Shout out to Anna. And I was so good at this. And we looked at Asian arts, y'all. Like, how is this still so good? It's so old. I'm just shook. And this view right here is so beautiful. Look at that. And then we had some snacks before we did our presentation. And here's Nick getting attacked by a bee.
Don't be afraid of it. It's a bumblebee. It's okay.
Huge.
It's huge. This is gonna be such a good footage.
And then we did more learning after this. We looked at this art piece to determine what kind of games and sports they played back then. And we talked about just how their society was built upon, you know, from emperors to just common people to the slave. And today was just another like eye-opening day of just how much we've evolved as a society and as human beings. And yeah, I just learned so much, and I'm just so grateful. And then they gave us some free time, and we were on our own for the first time on this trip. And so we went to the Mediterranean Sea. Look at that sunset. We got there at like the perfect timing. It was such a beautiful day, as I mentioned earlier. Peep the water though. Like, the only beach I've been to was Galveston, and y'all, the water ain't blue like this. And look at Rob in a good mood. And we spent some time at the beach, but we were on a mission. We were told to go to St. Paul's Basilica on our own. So that was our task for the rest of the day. And yeah, St. Paul's Basilica was so beautiful, just like any other basilicas that we went into. And then we got back in our hotel, and I'm having the carrots that I picked up earlier from the grocery. And then we went to the park next to our hotel, and I'm having some bread and turkey. And there's Megan, she's also having some food. And then I actually went out because I was like, am I gonna be in Rome ever again for New Year's Eve? So a lot of us actually planned on going out for the fireworks, but only 4 of us went. So shout out to Rob, Dan, and Josie for hanging out with me on New Year's Eve. This is one for the books. It's one of the most memorable New Year's Eve. And this is the first day of 2023. We started our day by going to an English-speaking service. This church was so beautiful, but I didn't record it there because I was there for service. And then we went to a few other churches. We just kind of explored the city. You know, it's a Sunday, it's New Year. But it got busy really quickly because there was a preparation for a New Year parade. And there's the famous fountain. Y'all, I threw a coin in there, but I didn't know what it meant. Apparently, it meant that if you throw a coin in there, you find love when you come back. But you know, I don't need any of that. Anyway, we just explored the city, and then we did our presentation. Look at Dan speaking so passionately. And then we had the rest of the day to ourselves, so we went and grabbed some food. And we split up because some of us wanted to go shopping and some of us just wanted to walk around. And so we stumbled into this parade, and y'all, they got Americans there. We found a good spot, and we just spent the rest of the evening there, and it was just a relaxing day. And yeah, And that was it for today. And here we are, day 5 in Rome. And the sculpture behind Father Bud, I learned that the person who sculpted that committed suicide because people was bullying him for his work. Y'all, I was so shook. People can be so mean. Anyways, we just went to a whole bunch of basilicas today. Oh, and this building was so cool. I thought it was so interesting. It was so different. And this ceiling right here is crazy beautiful. This one is just gonna be a lot of churches for this first little half. Y'all, I love that they celebrate Christmas for like so long. Because I feel like here, it's like once you get to December 25th, it's done, it's over. And like you see Christmas tree on the curbside. But it's so different here, and I just love that. This is the sacred column. It was such a special moment to be there and to witness that. And then we did some more walking to another destination. This is St. Francis. One of my friends was in charge of reading about him, so that was kind of cool to hear from her. And this right here, I believe, is the St. John's Lateran, another special location. We actually spent quite a bit of time here looking at artworks, just talking about it, comparing, kind of figured out what story the artwork is telling. And then we spent the rest of our day at the museum. We started off together and just learning and talking about art pieces. But yeah, we eventually split up and everybody was just walking at their own pace. I'm not gonna lie, I was so tired that day, but I was pushing through. And I have to remind myself that this is a whole semester put into 3 weeks, so it was loaded. But this is the view from the museum, which is also where we were going the next day. And this is our last day in Rome. We saved the best for last. So we were at the Colosseum. It was so surreal. It was so big. And we talked about like the different sports or games that will be played here. We talked about where like the emperor sat and where the people sat and how men used to pick up girls and how they did it. And then we went to the Romans Forum, which is where we spent the rest of our day. And again, it was a lot of learning. We looked at different pieces and like who built it and the kind of, political climate or economic climate during that time. And just like the port city, we looked at remaining pieces and talk about what it might have been for. So for example, if we were looking at underground, we'd just talk about how slaves were down there keeping the place warm, making sure the fire is going and things like that. And here's a racetrack, and we looked at the walls and we talked about what god we would put up there if we were living during this time. And then we went and had our discussion, our last one in Rome. And then we had dinner.